was the summer of 2003. I had just finished my first year at Mount Holyoke College, and I was now working as a box office manager at a theater in Sharon, Connecticut. And I'd be living there with everybody in the dorms who worked backstage. And this dorm, it was like a house, but more like a big cabin. And when you walked in, the first thing you noticed was that it smelled like cigarette smoke, and that the floors were lined with empty beer bottles, or what they would call empties. And I'm not a partier. I never was. I was an old soul since day one. And honestly, just too busy being Armenian to have any time for drinking, drugs, or anything else. But I was 19 at the time, and I felt that it was time that I saw how the other half lived. So within my first week of work, I drank for the first time, smoked pot for the first time, and also lost my virginity to the guy who operated the sound booth. So I now had a boyfriend, kind of, and had also earned myself the nickname Tequila. But since I didn't have a big group of girlfriends at the time to get advice from or ask questions to, I was kind of figuring things out on my own, like asking myself if it was normal that he wasn't talking to me this much afterwards, or if it was normal that my body hurt this much afterwards, or if it was normal that I always felt like I had a giant lump in my throat, and if so, then I wanted to know how much of their sadness women typically express, as opposed to the amount that they just keep inside and try to forget about. And so after a while, I couldn't take it anymore. And one weekend, when I was visiting my family, who live a couple of towns away in their summer home from Sharon, I caught a glimpse of myself in the porch window, and I started to sob. And my uncle, who was sitting a couple of feet away from me, notices and says, "Are you all right?" And I just ran away, and I swung open the porch door, and I ran down the hill. And as I'm running down, relatives are coming up, and I bang shoulders with my dad. And he looks at me and he goes, "What's wrong?" And I didn't know what to say. I mean, I wasn't planning on discussing it with my parents, but my parents are also cool, but they're also Armenian, and my dad is from Lebanon, so I don't know. I wasn't sure what to do. And since my dad is so good at reading me, he looks at me and he goes, "You went all the way." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he kind of pats me on the shoulder, like in a welcome aboard kind of way. And then he was like, "Okay." And I immediately felt better, because it meant that I could stop feeling guilty and angry at myself and could just feel sad the normal way now. But at the end of the night, everybody goes home. Like my dad goes home, my relatives go home, and now it's just me, my mom, and my little brother Rafi, who's about 10 at the time. And my mom reacted a little bit differently. She found out. She lit a cigarette and sat me down and said, "What the hell were you thinking?" And my mom has a way of coming on really strong till you realize that it's just her way of fighting for you. And eventually she said, "I just don't know why you never look out for your heart." And I said, "Mom, who looks out for their hearts anymore?" And she goes, "You know what? I think you should invite him over here for dinner. I think you should invite him over to have dinner with me and Rafi. I think it'll be fun." And I said, "What?" And she says, "Yeah, this is who you are. If someone's gonna like you, they have to love all sides of you. Don't you dare minimize yourself for somebody else." So I don't know what it was. Maybe it was my inner Mount Holyoke-ness or my inner Armenian, and I look at her and I go, "Okay." So the next day I go to the sound booth and I go, "Look, I know we're not getting married or anything, but my mom wants to know if you want to come over and have dinner with her and my little brother and me." And he goes, "Okay." And I go, "Okay." And so then I'm setting the table for the most unnecessary meal of the century. And my mom is in the kitchen cooking this elaborate meal, and I'm thinking, "Mom, why did you roast an entire chicken? He doesn't even love me." And then I hear his car driving up, and I hear the car door slam shut, and I'm just ready. And he comes in, and it's fine. It's fine. We're sitting at the table. My mom and he are talking about bands that they both like. My brother is talking to him about instruments he wants to play. And I'm just kind of not sure of anything. And I feel like I'm disappearing. And I'm not sure of how anything is going to go. But then something happens, because my brother, who's too young to really get what's going on, but is also not too young to know what's going on, gives me this look from across the table, kind of a look that's like, kind of interesting evening, huh? And I start laughing, and I'm laughing and laughing and laughing, and it's noticeable. And after a while, I don't even know why I'm laughing anymore. I'm just so happy to finally have my voice back. And I realize that it can take so much courage to run away and do all these crazy things, but it takes twice the amount of courage to be able to come back. And I realized that he wasn't the special guest my mom invited to dinner that night. That special guest was me.